Hey, Avery Point Priority List members, it's Jim Antonakis. I am here with John Pace. John is one of our preferred realtors in Erickson Realty and Moving Services. And we are here today to talk about this hot housing market that we've all heard about. We've heard about houses flying off the market, getting more than list price. You've probably seen it in your neighborhood. And we have many of you who have been asking the question, should I sell now and rent until Avery Point opens, or should I wait until next year and hope that the market is still as good, hope that I could get just as much for my house? And so John is here to answer that question. John, why don't you tell us what's that simple blanket answer for everyone in every situation?
So the answer is it depends.
Okay.
Right. At the end of the day, it's important to what your goals are and what your comfort level of either going now or waiting a year or so until you feel the market is where you want it to be. There's not an easy answer at the end of the day.
Well, that's kind of what I expected, and I think I always say if I had a crystal ball, I wouldn't have bought in 2008, right at the height of the market.
Right.
And so maybe I'm not the one to have this conversation with, but maybe you could tell us a little bit about the current state of the housing market.
Yeah, so a couple of points. One, obviously everyone's aware that it's very much a seller's market. And looking back, I've been doing this for almost 16 years and watching the trends for those 16 years. This is the lowest number of homes we've ever had available on the market. Typically, a balanced market is somewhere between 5 and 7 months of inventory, meaning that if nothing else came on the market, it would take 5 to 7 months for everything to sell between now and then. We're below a month of inventory. Most places in the country are in weeks of inventory, not months. I don't care if it's a big market like a DC or New York, or if it's a smaller market, or even a second home market like Wintergreen or Virginia Beach. They are all experiencing the exact same inventory issues.
Wow. And so what are some of the factors that are affecting that?
The most important one is the low inventory, as we discussed earlier. And that came because of the Great Recession. A lot of the builders went out of business, and the ones that stayed in the business had a hard time, either one, getting financing to build what they wanted, or two, just finding buyers who could afford in a recession to buy what they want. So I think from the numbers I have heard, we're around 7 million housing starts short nationally.
Wow, that's a lot.
It is. And this is the first year since '09, when we dipped below where we were supposed to be, that we've actually are back at the number of homes builders can handle to meet the demand. So we have a gap of about 12 years where we were not keeping up. And there's no quick answer to fix that. Builders are going like crazy right now, building homes, looking at Chesterfield and Northern Virginia and Fredericksburg. They're building like crazy, but they can't keep up with the demand that's out there right now.
So what are some of the things that could happen over the next 18 months until Avery Point opens that might cause the market to stay hot or maybe cool off?
So my feeling is it's going to stay pretty well on the hot side. Inventory, I don't feel is going to change anytime soon. There's just no way to correct that issue. Interest rates are looking like they're going to be staying around that 3% range. They trickled back up a few months ago, and then 2 weeks ago, they came right back down again. The market seems to be demanding they stay around that 3%. That said, when the interest rate did come up a little bit, the market did not slow down. The buyers are absorbing that as part of their, it's okay, we're below 4% conversation.
Okay.
Other than that, a cooling effect could come if the government decides to put policies in place that would tamper things, slow things down, or if we had a second round of COVID that people didn't see coming and we had to go back into a quarantine again and literally shut everything down. That would be the only thing I could see that would put a little cooling effect on it right now.
So could you take us through, what would you think as a realtor are some of the benefits or some of the drawbacks of selling now and then moving into, we have a lot of people looking at the retreat apartments right next to us here on Wilkes Ridge Parkway. Some people living in second homes at the beach, or some people living at Everly over behind Kroger, which is a 55 plus, or even with family. What are some of the good and bad elements of selling now and then renting until Avery Point opens?
So the good about what we know right now is that you know the market you're in. You know, talk with your trusted advisor, realtor, find out what your home is worth. Does it make sense for you to sell now, take that equity, put it aside, and then you have your plan in place for when your spot at Avery Point opens up. You know what's going to happen. You can control it. If you choose to wait a year, my feeling is the market should be a little higher price point within a year from But if it's not, do you have a backup plan just in case? Because, like I said, we know the market we're in right now. We don't really know what 2022 will look like. We think we do. And if it was to shift, do you have enough equity in your home to be able to do what you want with Avery Point if it was to go backwards a little bit? So it comes down to your risk tolerance, maybe for lack of a better phrase,
Sure.
of do you want to do what you have now and move twice, or do you want to wait that year or so, stay in your home, and hope that the rates and the pricing of what you're expecting is where it's going to be next year?
So, John, what is the best time to be talking to someone to find out what your options are?
The one thing I'll tell you is don't wait to the last minute. A lot of people, when I first talk to them, are like, well, I'm 6 months out. Let's talk about a month before I'm ready. And to be honest with you, that's really too late because there's a lot of variables in getting a home ready for market. It's not just, hey, here's the price. It's, do we have to get the home ready? Do we have to do any improvements to it? Do we have to declutter it? What are your comfort level having people come through the home? And so my answer always is, let's talk now so that you know what your game plan is. My advice for your home and your situation might be, let's go sooner than later. It might be, let's wait a year and see what goes on, but that way we have the plan laid out. Just don't wait till the last minute to have that decision made.
That's great. Excellent. And so is there anything else that you would tell our folks watching this video of any advice if they're deliberating selling now or when they should sell?
The number one thing is talk with your favorite realtor and talk with more than one. You really want to make sure the person you're talking with knows the market and can advise you appropriately for your neighborhood. That said, most areas of Richmond are getting multiple offers. Like most of the homes we're dealing with are between 5 and 25 offers per home.
Wow.
So you also need a realtor who knows how to handle that, how to negotiate appropriately, because just because you receive multiple offers doesn't mean you know what to do with them. Yeah. And not every realtor knows how to garner 25 offers on a home. So make sure you're talking to the right person. And if you feel that person's not quite right, talk to somebody else. There's a lot of realtors have gotten into the game this year thinking it's easy money, and it's not. There's a lot of work behind the scenes. But the biggest thing is I would talk with your favorite realtor and also talk with your financial advisor and just make sure that you've got your ducks in a row where you want it to be. And if you're looking to have a little more money in your pocket and your risk tolerance is low, wait a year and see what happens next year. If you want to make sure you've got that nest egg set aside for Avery Point, go ahead and sell now, move into that temporary housing, and then you replace Avery Point comes up, move in.
Yeah, well, that's great advice. I appreciate that. I've known people who have tried to navigate multiple offers recently. It is a good time to get, you know you're going to get a good price and some good terms today. What are some of the terms that we're seeing that, I know selling a house isn't all about price, right?
Oh yeah, in fact, price is probably secondary to the terms in my opinion. You want the highest price. However, if the terms left in place aren't beneficial, that price will come right backwards. Because as we all know, the home has to appraise, unless you're paying cash. And most buyers are having a bank behind them, so we have to have the appraisal. So a lot of buyers who are savvy and their realtor advises them well are either waiving some or all of the appraisal, they're waiving some or all of the inspection, they're allowing for whatever closing date the seller wants, and if they want, a free rent back for 1 to 4 weeks afterwards so they have time to move from where they are to the next place. You want to know what kind of loan they're getting. Is it going to be a conventional loan, a government loan? They all have their pluses and minuses to it. And those impact the appraisal conversation as well. So there's a lot of variables when it comes to terms than just the price that's out there.
Well, we were looking for an easy answer, and I think that there just probably isn't one. The simple answer is talk to a realtor. You can find John at thepaceofrichmond.com, and John and his team work with us here at Avery Point. We also have a list of preferred realtors. You can give us a call in the office. We are happy to send that to you of the folks that we're working with now, and we can get people out to start talking about what the right time is for you to sell your home. John, thank you so much for joining us today.
Welcome, Jim. Thank you.
We'll look forward to you meeting a lot of these wonderful people in the near future.
Sounds great. Thanks.